Ready? I would like to call the regular meeting of the Housing and Human Welfare Committee to order on Tuesday, July 21st at 4:49 p.m. And then do I do the roll call? At this time, I will have a roll call. Alderwoman O'Neill.
Present.
Alderman Smith Brown.
Present.
Alderman Conti, present. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next on the agenda is business and miscellaneous approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the regular minutes from the March 17th minute? No, she just gave.
Okay, I'll move to approve those minutes.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is general discussion, section ID-58-26, Oberry Court update. I would like to invite you all to come up to the table. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
I just want y'all to introduce yourself and state your name and then your job title.
Yes, absolutely. First and foremost, Chair Conti and members of the Housing and Human Welfare Committee, we wanted to thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. In preparation for today's discussion, we have prepared some materials in advance. If it would please the committee, may I bring them forward?
Thank you.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Jason Newman. I am the Vice President of Asset Management for the Penrose Companies. I'm joined today by our counsel, Avery Strachan from Silverman Thompson, our Vice President of Facilities, Kevin Hankins, our Vice President of Operations, Christina Trepko, our Regional Maintenance Manager for Maryland, David Brooks, and also joining us in support are Brian Mohan, Chief Operating Officer of RestoreCorps. They are a 20-year relationship of us for restoration and environmental support, including operational and specialized assessment for remediation services across our portfolio. Also joining us in support is Matt Pipkin from the Maryland Multi-Housing Association. I appreciate the committee's focus on the residents of Oberry Court and Wilbourn Estates, and I want to begin by acknowledging something very important. When residents bring concerns to elected officials, it means they feel their concerns have not been adequately addressed. Whether every allegation is accurate or not, that perception alone demands our attention. We are not here to argue with residents. We are here to listen, to be accountable, and to explain what we have learned and outline the proactive steps we are taking to address the ongoing issues. Over the past several weeks, Penrose has assembled a focused recovery effort around these communities. We have dedicated additional regional resources, added maintenance support, implemented a formal stabilization plan, increased executive level oversight, and begun addressing long-standing operational deficiencies. Our objective is simple: deliver safe, responsive housing and restore confidence among our residents, the city, and the Housing Authority. We recognize there are legitimate concerns related to maintenance responsiveness, trash management, property conditions, communication, and moisture-related complaints. We are not minimizing those concerns. Instead, we are actively addressing them through specific corrective actions and measurable accountability. We also recognize concerns related to moisture intrusion and microbial growth. As we're all aware, Maryland adopted the Maryland Tenant Mold Protection Act last year to ensure these concerns are addressed through investigation, communication, remediation, and correction of the underlying moisture conditions. Penrose policies and procedures are designed around those same principles in compliance with all applicable laws. We remain committed to addressing all moisture-related issues promptly and responsibly. Today, I hope to provide the committee with a clear assessment of where we are, what we have found, what actions are underway, and how we intend to move forward.
Thanks for coming and joining us. I appreciate all the paperwork that you gave us. It's nice. Thank you. You want to say, y'all can.
Get further to present, or are you ready for our questions?
Yeah, I can walk through each of the levels. I'll try not to speak verbatim, what's on the sheet, but what we wanted to do is present to you, a high-level look at, the actions that we're taking, the recognition of the issues, and what we're doing about it. So, the first issue and question that was raised by the committee surrounds resident portal access and tenant access to property management. We believe the portal should be a convenience to our residents, not the only way that they can get in touch with us. We are increasing our resident communication and support for residents who are having difficulty accessing the portal, accessing property management, and giving them resources for more available responses, right? So we are considering implementing services such as Elise AI, which provides 24/7 support to residents. It is an AI platform. It also produces tasks for follow-up across our organization. So it's not just the property manager who can pick up those tasks and respond to resident needs. It also helps handle work orders. So if there are emergency work orders, if there are regular work orders, if there's a maintenance concern, it can log those, escalate it to our maintenance team, either on-site or locally to handle or remediate an emergency. We're
May I ask
also
a question really
considering,
quickly?
yes.
In regards to that, is there a specific timeline that you have that's going to be in place, and how can you assure our residents that this isn't as many would call it, some type of blockage to reaching directly a human being, as we know AI has often been seen as such?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And, I think our approach here is to build that resident rapport and resident communication directly first. One of the great things about this site is we have a fantastic property manager who's been with us since April. She comes to us with a great wealth of experience, as well as, very well versed in resident communications and building that resident rapport. So yes, we want to build that personal relationship, that personal rapport first before we start to pursue, these alternative methods. The second item that was raised by the committee was snow removal and winter weather response, right? We do not claim that every response was perfect. I think we can all agree and accept that this was an exceptional winter year in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, and the response across the board was not great. We are evaluating what worked, what did not, what contractors were able to service our sites portfolio-wide, which ones did not, and we are making those changes and improvements before the next winter season. The third item was trash collection and dumpster concerns. Our residents should not live with overflowing trash. We may identify contributing factors, be it neighborhood, be it surrounding, be it traveling, dropping of trash across our facilities. but management remains responsible for implementing a better solution, right? We are evaluating additional dumpster capacity, additional dumpster mechanisms across the sites to determine whether or not that can help alleviate the concerns for cleanliness and trash collection. We are also considering, and this would be a pilot program for us, but installing cameras around our dumpster facilities to ensure that, not only are we tracking and logging that activity, but camera systems now have license plate readers, right? And so the enforcement of that policy becomes a lot easier with the license plate reader and the connection to the local police department.
Is there a timeline for that?
There's not a current timeline for that. We remain focused on the immediate issues at the site surrounding inspections, abatements, subsidy, things of that nature, and stabilizing the site. What we are doing right now, though, is increased maintenance rounds, right? We have multiple maintenance folks on site that are employed by the site. We are bringing in folks from all across Maryland and the Northeast to help assist with the situations at Obery. And we have temps. So there are currently 7 people, 3 permanent maintenance positions, 2 traveling positions, and 2 maintenance temps who are overseeing the site now. So increasing the property rounds, walking the grounds, collecting the trash, ensuring that the trash bins are clean, that the trash bins are collected, is a major part of our plan in the short term. And that brings us to the 4th item, which is maintenance response times. We acknowledge that there are response time concerns. The current answer that we have is added resources, clearer prioritization, backlog reduction, and weekly accountability. I can reference some hard data here. So over the period from April 15th to July 15th of this year, the Obery Apartments had over 311 total work orders generated. 275 of those are completed at an 88% completion rate. The 5th and final item surrounds moisture-related concerns. Our process is not simply to clean a visible condition, it's to identify the moisture source, complete corrective maintenance, remediate the affected areas where warranted, and follow up with the resident. A part of the package that I provided the committee this evening is a 10-day letter that we prepared that is a part of our standard operating procedure across our portfolio, will be used here with the addition of new property management oversight to follow up with residents within 10 days of moisture reporting, moisture remediation, moisture cleaning. Included in that letter are tips for our tenants to understand how to help prevent those issues and what to do if there is suspected microbial growth.
I have a couple questions for you as follow-up. My first question to you, sorry, I thought I had it pulled up, is in regards to the maintenance. If you could walk me through how a resident files a maintenance request, what their expectations should be for acknowledgement of that maintenance request, and the timeline for that filing to come to completion. Can you just walk me through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually going to ask my colleague, David Brooks, who oversees the maintenance function for these sites, to address that question.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Brooks, RMM for Penrose. So what they have multiple ways that they can do it. They can go in online and make a ticket, which then at that point it generates and it tells us if it, debating on what the verbiage is, it will come off if it's an emergency or if it's a standard. At that point, our gentlemen and ladies that we have working for us, they will receive, at that point we receive the information, we put it onto their phones, and at that time they have their tickets. And then with their tickets, they follow through with that with the app that they use through Yardi, and which basically allows us to put photos and answer exactly. So then when we're finished and we complete, that will give them an email letting them know, plus photos showing what we had done for the day. Apologize, I hope that I cover everything.
If that works. When you're doing maintenance, say I call you with, my toilet's not working. The ticket's been in, is there communication to the resident about we'll be there on Friday between 12 and 2, or do you just go when you're able to?
So it really all depends what it is. I mean, it's, we see our residents every single day. We're not in the office, we walk, we're doing things, we're keeping the grounds taken care of in those. So on them, that all depends on the residents. I can't give you a real clear answer on that because it just depends on what's going on at the time. But no ticket goes longer than 24 hours. And that's something simple as a blind not working or something. But anything of a leak, windows, doors, we have so many things that we consider an emergency, that a door's not shutting correctly, locks, anything that deals with like our inspections and like our HACA inspections and our Annapolis inspections, those, we make them, even if it's not considered an emergency per se, we consider it because it's a part of what needs to be in working order for those residents.
Right? And then is there an indication to the resident that you've been in their unit? Is there something left for them?
Yes, ma'am. So if they don't get so not only do they get what they put through there, we also leave door hangers that state what we have done. And then most of them, when we look into their ticket, it may say something about that they would like if them to be home when it comes time. So we make sure we call and set up something like that. We also find out, like especially during summer when we have minors home. So on certain things, we'll really make sure we make phone calls first to make sure that there's no minors in there or someone's there to take care of them.
Thank you.
What is your, two questions. The first is, what is your trash collection schedule?
Again, David.
I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on that. Our trash company is, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
Bayside?
Okay, we also have the property manager in the room. Dacola Dickerson.
Phone a friend.
Apple, thank you. How can I forget that name? I apologize. It's Apple.
Apple.
Yes, ma'am.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday? What was the schedule?
So the scheduling, yes. So what we did was we actually picked up a Sunday on top of that. We also met with them with other different options that we could do, depending on, with the size that we have. We also met with them too to try to understand what was going on. Why was our trash filling up so fast, especially when we added a Sunday to it? Well, what we did was we figured out when we were walking around with Annapolis with our inspectors and stuff, we saw residents from the outside putting trash in the dumpsters. So while that may not seem like that's that big of a deal, it actually is, because when we sit down and we do our contracts based off of how many people are living on the property and what the general idea of what they would have as refuge that they would get rid of. So when you have that issue of not only do you have your illegal dumping, but you also, even though the residents are making sure they're putting the trash in and not creating an issue, they are actually creating an issue, because what's happening is our dumpsters are not set to have that many people put that amount of trash in. So to answer your question, we added a Sunday to it, and it seems to be working very well.
Tuesdays and Sundays.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. The other question is, do you mind repeating the completion rate that you mentioned for the 311 work orders and the 275 completed? What was the completion rate that you mentioned?
88%.
That's what I thought. All right.
That was everything. So thanks for coming and giving us an update. We appreciate it.
Maybe I'll ask one. What do you find is the largest challenge being in leadership here at Oberry Court and Woburn Estates?
Biggest challenge?
Yeah, what are your largest challenges that you face?
I think over the past few years, our largest challenge, and it's not just Oberry Court, it's industry-wide, it's staffing consistency, staffing vacancies, refilling positions with well-trained, well-qualified, well-skilled individuals. You know, we are in a business where so much depends on the capability and the quality of the folks sitting in the seats at the site, and there is so much reliance, right, that you know we can backstop as much as we can from corporate, from other sites, right? But the success really hinges upon the people in that seat, and so we focus really heavily on onboarding. We focus really heavily on retention. We focus really heavily on ongoing training and continuing to adapt our training methodologies and our training protocols and our programs, and expand our sphere of talent recruitment, right, and try and bring more people into the industry. So.
Sorry, another question popped up. Do you have, since bringing on the new property manager in April, regular tenant meetings?
I would ask DeCola, our property
She's going to
manager.
have to come to the microphone if she's going to answer. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is DeCola Dickerson. I'm the new property manager. As of right now, we do not have regular tenant meetings. There are other issues that need to be addressed, but we are moving forward to that. As far as the committee that was in place prior to me coming on board, they dismantled. So the president that we had, the vice president, those individuals dismantled. So once they come back with their board, then we're ready to move forward.
I think that's one of the number one complaints I have is the residents don't feel that they have a place where they can go to get information besides one-offs, trying to visit during, the office hours or whatnot, that it would be great if we can. And I can help you facilitate that in Oberry Court in College Creek
Absolutely.
Terrace.
I welcome it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you leave your contact information before?
We need all the contact. Would you like to give it to you? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is ID-59-26, Homes at the Glen update. You all can come up to the table.
My name is Dana Johnson, and I am president of Homes for America, and we are the nonprofit owner of Homes at the Glen. With me is Danielle England, who is our vice president of asset management at Homes for America. Homes for America is a nonprofit headquartered here in Annapolis. We are a 32-year-old nonprofit. And we are the original developers of Homes at the Glen. It is a lease purchase community, meaning it was developed as a rental community that residents would have the opportunity to purchase their homes after the initial tax credit compliance period expires. We have sold 22 of the 56 homes to the residents. Habitat America is our property management company. We do not self-manage our properties. Habitat is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the property, and I'll let the Habitat folks introduce themselves. But I just want to share that we brought Habitat in March of 2023 after some poor performance of a prior management company, and they have done a much better job than prior management. I also just want to share that I think both Homes for America and Habitat are committed to providing quality housing and customer service. And I also want to share that we have, through support from Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, Anne Arundel County, and a small grant from the city of Annapolis, and some investment by Homes for America, we have spent about $1 million on the property in the last 2 years. We've replaced all the roofs, we've replaced all the HVAC, hot water heaters, and all kitchen appliances, and we have more work ongoing to address repairs to the parking lot and additional security, and we're hoping to have a little money left over to address finishes in the units. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Frank.
Good evening. My name is Frank Fudala. I'm the Senior Vice President at Habitat America.
I am Nakia Coleman, Regional Property Manager for Habitat America.
And Habitat just has a little history since Homes for America. Dana provided that. Habitat America has been managing properties, mostly affordable, in and around Annapolis. Our headquarters here is in Annapolis. We manage approximately 97 communities, all within a 3-hour radius of Annapolis, and we have been doing this for just over 36 years. As Dana was saying, we took over management of this particular property in March.
We were sent a set of questions, so we're happy to just go ahead and go through responses. Okay.
Well, I do have one question. Thank you for coming today as well. The one question I do have is, what is the process for getting, because you said 22 out of 56 homes are sold. What is your process for providing support to the residents that are looking to own their homes? What does that look like?
So currently, the program has expired. So the residents who were not able to purchase by July of last year, the homes returned to being affordable rental community. There will be a period in, I guess, 6 to 7 years from now, I'm at the end of the extended use agreement, that the home sales will reopen and residents will at that time have the opportunity to purchase their home. We partnered with Anne Arundel County ACDS to provide homeownership counseling and provide credit counseling to be able to prepare residents to be able to purchase their homes. And then we identified local banks in the community that were able to work closely with our residents to get them to home ownership at a very reduced rate. And Homes for America off second mortgage to make up the difference for the sales. So at this time, there is not ongoing home ownership counseling, but as we get closer to that time when home ownership will reopen, that will be offered at that time.
Why is that? Why did the program no longer continue? Why hasn't it continued any longer?
So our regulatory agreement with the state only allowed for a certain period of time for the homes to be able to be sold. They gave us an extension. But at some point, we had loans that needed to be repaid.
I'll let them answer that question.
Yeah, so from my understanding, there was a list of issues that were called to. So let me just say, I'll summarize the issues and how we have addressed them or will address them, and we can provide additional documentation after this meeting if you wanted to see invoices or contracts or work order detail, et cetera. Okay.
Closer to you, that'll catch your voice better.
Not a problem. Is that better for everyone? Okay, great. So the issues, I'll just list them. They were plumbing issues, we had outdated appliances, customer service, and we had how we handle maintenance work tickets and who can the residents at the community contact when they need assistance. One of the things we've always struggled with, and I heard the gentleman earlier talk about, is staffing. So we've in this industry have a difficult time staffing managers, difficult time staffing maintenance, but it's even more difficult on a small community where you have to share staff within other local communities. And we do manage a lot here in Annapolis, so we are able to share staff.
but that is a unique issue for this particular community because it is a smaller community. So one of the things I wanted to address was the plumbing issues that we have seen in early 2026. I think there was maybe an indication that this is a larger issue at the property, but it's not. So in summary, in Unit 25, we had a major issue related to a pipe break. It wound up being a clogged toilet that wound up being an insurance claim. We spent about $20,000 in that particular claim repairing that, which we did immediately, and I can follow up with additional documentation on that. We also put the resident, I believe in that particular case, in a hotel while we took care of the situation. There was another situation that occurred in that same unit a little later on, which wound up being another toilet clog, which we then contracted out to have repaired. And I have the invoices for that. In Unit 28, which is something else that occurred in late first quarter and early second quarter, that was another toilet clog that we immediately took care of. We wound up finding out that there was grease in the lines, et cetera, so we repaired that particular issue. And I only bring those two to light just to let you know that we took care of them. We heard the residents' concerns. They are very one-off concerns. It's not something that we see throughout the community that we should be taking more proactive action on. We handle the situations as they come up. We hire the appropriate firms, legitimate vendors to come in and take care of some of the larger issues that we see. Related to appliances, et cetera, Dana did a good job of explaining what has gone on at this community with the replacement of appliances, with HVAC, with roof. When we see an older appliance, we immediately replace it as we need to, and that's on top of the grant that Homes for America has received. So I'm not really sure where that particular complaint comes from, but we are open to listening to our residents, and we have consistent meetings with them, as suggested in the previous presentation here. And we follow up with them as quickly as possible. And that leads me to my next situation here is in terms of how are we handling customer service and tenant complaints and unresolved maintenance issues. So related to staffing, we did have a community manager there that resigned in late 2025, but now the site has full-time coverage through temp agencies and through Habitat America corporate staff. And so the staff is now, we do have full-time staff there, and actually have a list of the staff who are actually at the community that I can share with not only you, but of course the residents know this, but we can follow back up if the residents don't feel as though they know who to contact. So I have contact information as necessary. The residents know that they can contact us at any time. They can speak to our staff. They can go online and submit a maintenance through our portal. We have 24-hour maintenance. What I'm getting through some of this is that maybe the communication from our management office to the residents needs to be better so that they know exactly who to contact and how to submit their work orders. And so that's something we can work on, absolutely.
I got a comment.
In terms of work orders, I
got a comment.
Oh, please, yeah.
So when we're talking about apartment 25, so the person that you're referring to actually came to me, so I was the one who got the report about everything that was going on.
Yeah.
So the main thing wasn't that the plumbing thing happened, it was more of the responses that she got after the things happened, as far as like, we know that it happened, it wasn't her fault or your guys' fault, but they did not want to put her in a hotel. So they were refusing to do that until they knew that her mom was taking it to the next level. So I don't know how the communication went, but they did not initially want to put her in a hotel. And even to give like wraparound services to that person that's paying their rent and doing all the things that they should be doing, they didn't want to provide that either. But they did it. But it was in the back end. It wasn't like, okay, we know that this issue is happening, so we're going to take care of it. They did that after a lot of fighting and pulling and tugging.
Well, I'm not aware of those initial conversations as to what had occurred, but I can follow up and find out exactly what happened there. And I want to make sure that I get you the right answer and to make sure you understand, and then we'll reach back out to the resident to make sure, that they understand not only what had happened, but how we can avoid it in the future.
Thank you.
Sure. Related to Work orders and follow-up, again, we will work with the residents there to make sure that they know how to submit a work order. Related to outstanding work orders or unresolved work orders, so since January, and I just picked a random piece of time, right? We've had 128 work orders at that particular community. Most of them were getting prepared for the rental license inspection that we had at the property. But of the 128, we only have 7 that are outstanding, and most of those are just due to waiting for a contractor to fix a garage door, et cetera. So it just gives you a sense of the work orders that come through since January and how many we've completed, and there's only 7 outstanding at this time. Right, sorry, and we were just talking about how we can get in front of the residents and make sure that we communicate that better to them. Last thing that was on the list was who to contact. So I do have a list here, and again, I can provide that to you. I can also just get back in front of the residents to make sure they know who they can contact. Nakia, who's the regional at the property, is always available, whether she is at night or on the weekends. I know she's been dealing with some city staff related to some issues that we've had at several properties in Annapolis. And it's good to have that relationship with the city and the fact that not only are we responsive, but we're responsive to the residents as well. And again, we'll make sure that that is communicated back to them.
Can we get the names of the properties that you manage?
I can send that. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we manage several in Anne Arundel County, several here in Annapolis.
What year again did you say that the purchasing program will begin? You said 6 to 7 years. Yeah, but what's an estimated year? Because
I think it's 2032.
2032.
I just have 2 questions for you. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Do you currently have open units, vacant units? And do you have a wait list for your units? Yes, we do. Can you give me an estimate of how many on the wait list and what the average wait list time is?
Right now, the wait is about.
I need you to speak into the microphone. Thank you.
So we are fortunately, we are 100% occupied. Obviously, we don't get a lot of vacancies. Right now, the wait list is about 1.5 years long. So we are taking applicants and persons who are interested, and they can call us or come to the office and do that.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask everyone the similar questions of the challenges that you face in leadership.
So just to be clear, in leadership in this industry,
So,
within my
as you have
company?
served in leadership, what are the challenges that you have experienced and or witnessed, or that you find to be of greatest need, resolve?
So I may have mentioned this earlier, just in this particular industry, staffing is a huge concern. Another challenge, and maybe Dana can speak to this as well, is when we are developing affordable housing and managing affordable housing, when the underwriting is happening on the development side, and we have to hit certain operating targets, from our side, we don't feel as though there's a lot of leeway in terms of how much we pay our staff. The salaries in property management right now have gone astronomically high in the past 10 to 15 years, and a lot of the deals aren't being underwritten for that. So we are not getting great talent in the maintenance and manager realms. So we have to meet our budget criteria, or we need to push up upon original pro forma, and the properties aren't cash flowing as much as they should, so that we can take care of the properties as we need to. That's probably the largest concern that I see in this industry. And some of it was talked about earlier. We make sure that we grow from within, that we provide the training that's necessary so that Habitat America doesn't see some of the turnover that some of the other management companies have. And when you're able to keep that consistent, then you're able to, manage more effectively. So we try to focus on that at Habitat.
So I know staffing is always going to be of concern. We lack staffing in the city of Annapolis, and there are ways that we're trying to resolve that. Let's put our minds in the perspective of the people that live within your housing communities. What do you think the challenges that they face that you all are consistently working to resolve?
I think a lot of the challenges that they would face would be something that we could support them through some of the resident services that I know Homes for America is extremely good at. Maybe Dana can speak to that, but from our perspective, we just want to make sure that we are managing good physical communities so that the seniors and the families can thrive physically in their own unit. Once that has been accomplished, they can then start thinking of how can I better myself through a computer program, or how can I get more involved in my community? And that's where we lean on Homes for America a lot from a resident service perspective.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges in the affordable housing industry today is preservation of the properties and the units. What has happened since COVID is that our rents are quite low because that's who we're trying to serve, and we're trying to make sure that we're keeping rents affordable. But our operating expenses have gone through the roof. And so those lines have crossed, and we have a lot of properties that are not breaking even. And it's very challenging in those kinds of situations to make sure that we're continuing to maintain the units and the properties as the properties struggle for cash. And I think, just to get on my soapbox, I think, at a state level and a national level, I don't think we really are paying attention to this incredibly looming problem. We have a lot of emphasis on the housing shortage and producing more, which is hugely important, but preserving what we have. We don't want water leaking out of the bucket while we're trying to fill it. And I think my concern is with our K-shaped economy and the residents that we serve, just struggling more and more with inflation and retrenchment of supports and other kinds of things that help them stay housed, stay healthy, maintain their jobs. Those things are impacting us too, because as they struggle to pay rent, it impacts our ability to serve them and keep them housed. And to me, that's just a looming challenge that we are also not talking about. When we say, we're keeping properties affordable, well, you still have to be able to pay your rent. And it's just, I think we're seeing it all over the place that people are really struggling to pay their bills.
Y'all got anything else? All right, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the -20-26 Annapolis Gardens update. You all can come to the table.
Hello,
You,
I am
Melanie.
Leticia Rollins, the attorney for Annapolis Gardens. I have two individuals with me that work directly on the site, Melanie Holmes and Grayson Flynn. We don't have any fancy spreadsheets. We don't have any data for you, so we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Your city attorney contacted us and said these are the topics, so we're happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the property.
All right. Well, the first topic here, thank you. I will say Melanie has been a phenomenal staffer at Annapolis Gardens, and I will continue to advocate for her to be in high leadership. And we need new management at Annapolis Gardens. And when she puts that application in, she needs to be approved, period.
We agree. We agree.
Thank you. Just saying. Now, in light of all the issues that we're facing across our housing communities, one of them is unresponsiveness. And I know that that's one of the topics here. Can you just share with us really the process for our residents to not only get a response, but to have initiation of contacts from the office for events, et cetera?
Sure. Generally speaking, they can obviously contact via phone. They can come to the office and speak in person. They can email whomever. They can email the property email. There's a lot of paths that they can take, as well as the AI that we've implemented. We've also implemented Elise AI. On top of that, we have our portal. So there's a ton of different ways for them to reach us and for us to speak with them. I'd like, if what you're speaking about, like if there was better examples of unresponsiveness to like answer better, if like just general inquiries or anything else.
So there were two major issues that occurred, particularly during the snowstorm. Was one, cleaning off the sidewalks, cleaning out the driveways. You have a high elderly population there. They weren't able to do so. And so I, of course, had to work with them to try to find a way to get the shoveling. But they also told me that they got a letter on their door saying that it was their responsibility to do it. And they wanted to contact someone within the office, and they didn't get a response. The other was a plumbing issue, multiple plumbing issues that occurred there. And we still have yet to get much of the details. But there was a plumbing issue in one of my residents' home. I do represent Ward 3, which is Annapolis Gardens. I went out there one late night. I had to stay on the phone for hours with the plumbing contractors that you all have. That did get resolved, but you're talking about an elderly woman above 70 years old having to deal with this, and that was a huge concern to me. And so we appreciate the number that you all do offer. There's this number that you give to the residents that they can call immediately. There was an answer there, but it took hours for her to get the support she needed, and it lasted for more than 2 weeks. This is plumbing, as you well know. How am I supposed to use a bathroom if it's clogged up and it's overflowing in my own personal toilet? It's disgusting.
Yes. So during the snowstorm, I was on site, and we did have residents. Our elderly is like closer toward Bowman Drive, the bottom of Bowman Drive. And so when maybe she was told that you're responsible for just right in front of your house, but all common sidewalks are for us. During that snowstorm, our guys were out. The problem was once they shoveled, it came right back. And so we kept getting hit with several inches of snow. And so after that, we had issues with our contractors coming out because everyone in the community needed those, we're using those same contractors to come out and clean those ways. So our staff was working hard to try to get those ways cleared for them. But as far as the residents, it's just directly in front of their house, not the common sidewalks. And so we did have issues with contractors coming out because they were stretched thin throughout the city.
Can you address the plumbing issue?
The plumbing issues in regards to?
Yeah, so there were actually two. Just remembered another plumbing issue that occurred. So there's two plumbing issues. One, which was actually the worst that I've received thus far being in office, and she had to move out of Annapolis Gardens due to this plumbing issue. Everything that came up from the toilet was all over her items and on her floor. So that was the one issue. The second one was the one that I was referring to earlier, which was a clogging of the pipes of some sorts. And she asked me, which I was going to get an answer hopefully from today, is how often do we clean the plumbing system or filter the plumbing system within these public housing communities? Because that's also of concern, infrastructure and plumbing. When you have multiple units using, the same lines, you have to maybe so often go in there and clean it out. Even in our personal homes, we have to do that. So maybe getting an understanding of what that looks like if y'all do that annually.
So in general for WIN, what we typically set up is somewhat of a quarterly jetting line schedule. It can depend on the site after history if we acknowledge that there's an issue with it. For this site, I believe we would be following the quarterly cycle to have the lines jetted. But as far as it goes for more specifics to the plumbing issues and why there was a lack of response, Melanie would be able to speak with that a little bit.
So with the first plumbing issue where the lady had to leave the unit, what happened was there were growth it was grow from a tree, like underneath the ground. And so it kind of backed up the system, so we had to move her out of her unit. Now, regarding Bowman Court, that is an annual, sometimes twice, like every 2 years. What we have found was, and we had sent letters out, is we have to keep reminding our residents, you cannot put certain things, you can't flush wipes or certain things like that. What happens is it backs up there, and that's what we have to constantly, at least once a year, unplug those pipes. And so, like Grayson said, we were working on something where it could be a quarterly thing, or just to make sure that that is being taken care of. But the first one, that was actually a natural occurrence that had never happened before.
I would highly encourage, if we can, a quarterly, if you all have the funds to do it, of course, a quarterly, that would be huge. Did y'all have any questions? 'Cause I can give you one.
Thank you. I'm going to ask similar questions. Can you walk me through how a resident goes about inputting a maintenance request, how long they should expect until they at least have an acknowledgement of that, and how long a typical maintenance request lasts?
But when we our residents are able to call, we respond to them. If they cannot get to us, they can put it in online. They can put in a ticket online. They can, if it's an emergency, it's a prompt for them to press a certain number, and that will alert our guys. They have a phone. It goes directly to their phone. They're more than welcome to walk in. They can come and walk in. So that's the process for them to put in their work order. And then the second question is, within 24 hours, we typically handle any work orders. If it's a non-emergency work order, and we have emergency work orders before, just maybe your blind broke or something like that, then we would take those emergencies first.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, in general, when someone is calling and they make contact and they put something in as a ticket, they will get immediate response from our system. If they have an email that has been given to us at move-in, they'll get an acknowledgement showing that that ticket has been put in, what level it's been rated at, and basically a general response time. It should say how long it would take for us to respond to that. But in general, we try and handle things within 24 hours.
Thank you. My second question for you is the total number of units you have, and are any of the units market rate units, or are they all voucher?
There are 150 units on site, and 75 are low-income housing tax credit, and then 75 are project-based voucher, and that's through the Housing Authority, City of Annapolis.
And are there any vacancies at the moment?
Yes.
Yes, currently we're at 93% occupancy.
Thank you.
So how many cameras do you have on site, and which ones are active, or how many of them are active?
I wouldn't be able to give you a number. I honestly, off the top of my head, don't know how many cameras are on site, but that camera system would be active through, was it Crimco? I could definitely answer like how many cameras at a later date if you'd like, but I wouldn't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, we would love to get that, because Annapolis Gardens seems to have, not lately, but a history of crime. And when we have young people especially being hurt, it's especially important to put not only cameras but lighting. And that's my second question. Have you taken a view of the lighting fixtures that you have in the community and identify the areas that are lacking and ones that should be in place?
As I recall, about last year when there was an incident that occurred, that was something that was being looked into. As far as it goes for any lighting issues, I'm not aware of any areas that are extremely in need.
The playground.
Specifically the playground.
The playground,
Okay.
especially, yes.
Okay.
So we have been working with the city. There was issues on which street was the city, what street was Annapolis Gardens. This has been ongoing. And so I know we had talked about that. I do believe that the light around the playground area was fixed at one point. It looked like someone ran into that light. And so they had to replace that and fix that, but we will have to get an update on how that looks, because I haven't been there at night during the playground.
Yeah, at least since a recent security report, that's the last time that we did a light audit. So we can definitely confirm that for the playground.
Are there any other future developments or redevelopments of the area that you're looking to have in place in Annapolis Gardens?
In general, with Wynn's takeover, because they are purchasing the property, there will be redevelopment with that. Currently, we're at a base level, so nothing official that we could speak to at this time, but there is intentions to redevelop.
I got one question. You were asking about specifics as far as like when they say about the unresponsiveness. So I had several people from Bay Ridge Gardens and Annapolis Gardens come and address them basically getting these outrageous amounts for ledgers amounts, and when they were coming to try to communicate with you guys about why or how their balances become that, they were unresponsive, and it was specifically them saying that they reached out to management and they didn't get a response. So I know that you have resident service coordinators, but I don't think that the resident service coordinators should be handling rent stuff if they have property managers in place. So that's a big thing for the residents for both of those communities, having those concerns, and they feel like the only responses that they're getting is when it's resident services. Those are two different things to deal with when it comes to rent.
So to clarify for Annapolis Gardens and Bay Ridge, to hone in on Annapolis Gardens, I urge those tenants to come to the office to speak with us in reference to those issues. As far as I'm aware, a lot of the issues that come from ledgers actually speaks to some of the issues we've been dealing with HACA for received subsidies, and as well as those people being told that they owe money back. And so we've had those reports come through Annapolis. As far as Bay Ridge, they do have the same setup for a lease AI. If they have an issue, they can bring that up with that concern. It gets sent straight to me, and we can address it that way.
So I know you can't give details on Wynn's purchase and the redevelopment. I was told, is this supposed to be in the next couple of years that we're looking?
The purchase should be within the next couple of years.
Okay, great. So you're going to get back to us with the two pieces of data that we asked about for the light audit that you mentioned, as well as cameras?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. You good?
So recently, we've had a lot of management shift at Annapolis Gardens. What is your vision for management in Annapolis Gardens?
Speaking in general, I've got a little bit of the vision sitting to my right, hopefully. As far as it goes for consistent management, it has been a struggle for keeping a manager there. As far as it goes, I think the last manager who left, it was just about them returning home, that they wanted to move back to Seattle. So I don't know that that was a specific issue that they had with the property so much, but I do hope that we'll be able to get somebody consistently there as well. And if Melanie does get put there, she'll be working closely with me over there as well.
And me. And I'll also say, the last piece here, because it's quite a shame. In Annapolis Gardens, there's no summer program there currently. There has been organizations in and out. And just to give a little background, one of the reasons why I do love Melanie so much is because when there wasn't a summer program there, we worked hand in hand and really structured a program there, and dozens of children would come there throughout that time period. After a couple of years and new organizations in and out, it kind of fell through. What is your plan to ensure that that community center gets used, because it's an iconic community center, Carolyn Butler Community Center, as well as what is your plan to allow for the residents to have direct access to it? You often find that there's a high cost or fee to have access to a community center that a community that they live in, and that's a huge issue to me. So the cost should, of course, be reduced, especially if there can be an MOU in place or an agreement, a trusting agreement for insurance policy. I'm sure that's one of the problems that we face in these communities, or our communities. But what is your thoughts on that for ensuring that there is a program or programming throughout the year annually, as well as contacts to our residents about any other programming outside of just that community center?
In general, speaking on what they actually do have at this moment, so they do have 2 different programs actively every week. That's Monday through Thursday. One Monday, they actually specifically are there from 1 to 3, I believe, and that's for youth mentoring and mental health. And as far as it goes, for Tuesday through Wednesday, they do morning sessions with children for like just fun activities, things like that. So there is some utilization there, but I do agree that the community center could be more utilized. And we're currently looking into locking down a contract for a company to assist with those types of activities.
As well as the usage for, like, if a family wants to have because we would have Christmas events there, Thanksgiving events led by the community, and then they're told that they no longer can have access to that space. And, when you're trusting of each other and you're having, like, Friendsgivings and things like that, it kind of isn't the best feeling to be told that you no longer can have access. You have to spend $300, $400, $500 to have access to a community center.
I love the idea personally of having the tenants able to go to the community center. And I know that there is intention for making some type of key fob system where there would be access in the future. That is far out. So, I want that to be the case, and we're urging for that. But at this very moment, we're going to just do our best to provide the programs for the tenants and get them what they need.
All right, thanks for coming. Can we get your contact information?
I'm assuming that's Ms. Corey's?
Yes, it is.
Yes, if I wrote my notes to give the follow-up items to your city attorney, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yep.
I think you guys held us longer than everybody else.
Because we didn't have a spreadsheet,
Yeah, exactly.
but okay. Thank you so much.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is ID-60-26, Bywater update. Y'all can come to the table. Bywater update. What's going on?
Good evening. I'll introduce myself. My name is Stacy Ringgold. I'm the regional property manager for Quantum Real Estate, managing Bywater Mutual Homes that's located in Annapolis. It consists of 308 multifamily units.
I'm Janice Hargrove. I'm the new property manager at Bywater Mutual Homes.
I'm Denise Fisher, resident and president of the Board of Directors at Bywater Mutual Homes.
So somewhat like the presentation that happened before us, was invited. We're not really familiar with what the questions are, what's needed, so we will do our very best to answer what we can, and if we can't, we will provide you with the information.
There were 3 topics that were highlighted for Bywater. One was mold issues, which seems to be our common theme tonight. Unresolved maintenance issues, which is also another common, and accounting procedures as Alderwoman Conti referred to prior, as far as people receiving ledgers that didn't make sense. So if you want to, those were three things. If you want to
Okay.
start with mold,
So
that would be
I'll-
great.
Let's start with the accounting, if you don't
Okay.
mind. So what happened with the accounting at Bywater Mutual Homes? I'm not for sure if you all know that Bywater Mutual Homes is a co-op. And being a co-op, we were not required to get a rental license for many years. And back in 2000 and I believe 21, if I may be correct, they started requiring us to get rental license. And as a result of that rental license, the city was coming out putting on everyone's door this written notice that said, you don't have to pay rent. And they did not. So until they were able to get their rental license. So what took place, and what I've been working with personally myself, is I'm the one that's issuing those resident ledgers and actually asking for residents to come in to meet with me to discuss. And in that letter, I also expressed that if they disputed that, then as long as they brought the supporting documents, then I would work with them to make sure that their ledger reflected the correct balance. What we did as a result of them receiving that notice from the city, up until we actually got the rental license, that balance was written off because legally we cannot claim that rent. So the balances that were reflected are true and accurate as of today, unless that resident came in to challenge that and provided supporting documents showing that rent was paid or any supporting information that would challenge the balance that was owed. I have met with everybody. We also offered repayment agreements. We have not filed in rent court despite us having the rental license and can proceed until we went with each and every resident to discuss their delinquent balance to confirm that it's owed, giving them an opportunity to enter into a repayment agreement, and honoring that repayment agreement to avoid filing in rent court or evicting someone. So that's what we've been doing.
After the specific residents came to you about the letter that they received, how long does it take before they get like information on a repayment agreement, or if you resolved it on your own, or whatever came about from the ledger?
Sure. So what has happened is the first thing I need is for them to provide me with the supporting documents. And reviewing a ledger is not something that we could just review. It does take us some time to coincide with the money order payments, check payments, to make sure that they were all accounted for. And in addition to looking at when they received the rental license to make sure that we took off everything that was charged for them. So it's not a process that I'm gonna say it's gonna take me 2 days. It's not, and taking that in consideration, we had quite a number of people that owed balances. So we're still working through it. I have been notifying each resident that want to enter into a repayment agreement, making sure I'm not trying to offer them a repayment agreement that they can't afford to set them up for failure. We're offering reasonable repayment agreements, making sure that's signed before we issue any updated ledger or any correspondence that coincide with that. So we're investigating it fully, and then the final documentation will be provided to them.
Thank you.
Unresolved maintenance issues or mold?
We'll do unresolved maintenance issues. So another challenge that we face, along with every other property management company, it's a revolving door at times. We've had some challenges with getting a maintenance supervisor. We've had challenges with property managers, office staff, period. Luckily, I think that I can confirm that we are fully staffed today. The maintenance supervisor starts next week, so we will be fully staffed. And taking all of that in consideration, having people walk in and out, sure, did things slip through the cracks? I would say most definitely they did. Have we taken it upon ourselves with the new staff to ensure that we are responding timely to our residents? We are. Are we backlogged? Sure. Are we working towards getting all of those things corrected? Absolutely.
I'm going to add to that my question that I've asked before. Can you walk me through the process of how somebody submits maintenance?
Sure. We kind of have the same process. You can call in, you can walk in, you can report it on a portal, and we have emergency after hours as well.
What are your walk-in hours?
Our office
Walk-in hours, yes.
8:30 to 4:30.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, yes.
That's fantastic.
And then last but not least is the mold. So we have been having some challenges with mold, and I honestly think that we have been responding really efficiently with that. The mold is coming from the condensation line backing up. What we do is we send a certified moisture tester that goes in. It's not somebody from our office that goes in, it's ESI. We contract them, they go out and they confirm the condition. If that condition is, from that report, if it says that we need to relocate, we relocate. The relocation can be the option of either moving to another unit on the property and or staying in a hotel until we're able to abate that situation. We have properly documented everyone who has reported moisture. And we provide the city of Annapolis, because they get involved as well, we provide them with all of our reports showing that we have abated it and cleared the unit for residents to be able to return.
They let y'all get off easy. All right, I think that's it.
Fantastic. If you have anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Can you,
Provide my contact information?
Please.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, Stacy,
You want me to provide it to you?
The next item on the agenda is ID/57-26 Amber Oaks update. You guys can come up to the table.
The phone? Did someone leave their phone? Hello, I'm Elizabeth Hawley, Director of Asset Management with Enterprise Community Development.
Hello.
And we'll go down the line. Introduce yourselves.
I am Princess Robinson, the Regional Manager for Enterprise Residential.
Sherry Condi, Vice President of Operations for Enterprise Residential.
Jamila Palmer, Property Manager for Admiral Oaks.
Thanks for coming. You want to start off? What?
All right. Hello. I'm also in Ward 3, Admiral Oaks, where I grew up, by the way. And I'll tell you, the conditions now are worse than when I grew up. It's actually one of the worst, I would say, out of all of them across our city. And it's a shame and a disappointment. The two, I'll say a little positive, I see two floral outfits here, and I see two tannish black outfits here. So it was good team coordination today. Regarding the issues in Admiral Oaks, the first one here out of the two, we have molded and unresolved maintenance orders. I'm not certain if you all have taken a walk throughout the units. So that's the first question I have. Have you all taken a walk throughout the units in Admiral Oaks, the apartment complexes?
Yes, so Admiral Oaks is currently, it's 100% occupied. We've maintained 100% occupancy for the last 4, maybe 5 months. We do inspections, preventative maintenance inspections. Internally, we do twice a year where the property manager, maintenance supervisor, and maintenance staff inspect 100% of the units. And we also have a 100% unit inspection from the city of Annapolis. We just had that inspection in January of 2026. That inspection was completed in just 2 days. And that's significantly ahead of schedule when normally they schedule for a week, but they finished a 100% unit inspection in 2 days. We had very minimal findings, things like caulking around the bathtub or caulking around the sink or something like that. So that was really good. And right now, Admiral Oaks is currently 100% licensed, and we are in full compliance with the city of Annapolis.
Hey, do you mind sharing with us? There was a case in Admiral Oaks where a woman had sewage coming from her toilet, as well as mold on her walls and moisture in her carpets. She shared with me, and there are images to show, she, a 70-plus-year-old lady, having to urinate in a bucket. That's one of the most disgusting things as well. And I'm tired of saying that word with our public housing, because public housing should be a housing that's equitable and affordable for all people. And so do you mind just sharing with us a little bit about the largest issues or concerns that you faced thus far with mold and plumbing, seeing that it is near a swamp, or it was once near a swamp? And I think that's one of the concerns that was brought to my attention, at least from management, with the moisture issue that you face.
Okay, so I want to start with what you said initially as far as that particular resident. So just because pictures are provided, that does not mean that is a current issue. I am fully aware of the person that you are speaking of, and this happened maybe, I guess, about a month or so ago.
Yes.
And with this particular person, things are occurring that are not as a result of mismanagement or non-maintenance. So with this particular person, we called out a plumbing company, and when they snaked the line, they pulled back 2 wigs and wipes. So this resident and this is all in the report, which I can provide to you guys at a later date, this resident put 2 hair pieces down the toilet and some wipes, which caused the backup. We had the plumbing company to come out immediately. They snaked the drain, they pulled it back, they took, notes of everything of, what occurred. And while they were doing that, there was some water, but the maintenance was on scene. They wet vacuumed everything, made sure they sanitized everything, pulled her carpet back, put a fan there. The very next morning, this particular resident took another picture where she had filled the bathtub up and there was brown water in the bathtub, but it wasn't like that the day before. So, and this same resident earlier, maybe mid last year, had stuffed incense and some things down the drain in the kitchen to cause a backup and took photos of it. At that time, all of this is documented. At that time, we cleared the line. One of the inspectors from the city of Annapolis, she came out and she just recommended that we pull the kitchen floor and replace the vinyl just as a courtesy, which we did. And we did the same thing in the bathroom this year, although this is the residents doing, and that's all documented there. So what was the second half?
I'll kind of just redirect the conversation to the walls that are chipping and the flooring and tiles that are stripped up. Is there a plan long-term to renovate or to overhaul Admiral Oaks? Because I will say that it should be done. It should be done.
Right, and I do agree, and we are discussing re-syndication, but I can get back to you with more detail on what year we're going to be doing that. But I do want to just make you aware that we do understand that we did have some issues in 2022, but we do not currently have any units that have been condemned. We don't have any violations from the city of Annapolis. I have worked very, very hard over the years to build a rapport with the inspectors, with the Department of Permitting, Zoning, and things like that. And like I said, every year, year over year, we have improved when we have the 100% annual inspections. In the beginning, it took a week or a week and a half to get through 100% units, and it's 159 units at the property. And now we're down to, like I said, 2 days, but these were 2 half days where they started at 9, they were done by noon. The second day, they started at 9 and they were done by 11. So that says a lot. And like I said, the findings were very minimal, some caulk and some smoke detectors that were beeping at a low decibel. But other than that, the property has come a long way. We have stabilized as far as staffing. Our administrative staff is stabilized. We have a property manager, assistant manager, and a leasing consultant, and the maintenance staff is fully staffed there. So we're doing very, very well. Like today, I don't have a spreadsheet like the first company, but just like as of today, as far as work orders, we currently have 4 work orders that are open, and those work orders were called in, 1 on July 20th and 3 on July 21st. All of them are very minimal things, like mailbox key, smoke detector alarm, a window screen, and to charge an AC. So those things will be done immediately, and I do have just a little bit of stats as far as like our maintenance performance and stuff like that. So from April 1st through July 16th, the maintenance team completed 306 work orders. That's averaging 2.9 work orders called in per day. And the completion time is less than 1 day. So of course, if there is any emergencies like leaks, backups, anything like that, that's addressed immediately. Smaller things, blinds, screens, light bulbs, those we still get done in less than 1 day, so.
Thank you very much for that. I do have a couple questions for you. As far as, it sounds like you've got maintenance under control. Residents contacting you, do they do that? How do they do that? For maintenance issues and/or billing questions or rent questions? What's the process for that?
So Admiral Oaks is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. With the exception of Wednesdays, we open at 11 a.m. from 11 to 5 because we have training, but the site's team is still on staff from 8 a.m. The residents can walk in, they can call, they can send emails, they can go through the portal on Rent Cafe to put in work orders to pay rent. They can also do all those things by walking in. And as far as maintenance, we do have 24-hour maintenance. After the office closes, that goes into emergency maintenance, and the residents can call a number and the maintenance team will come out. They'll call them to acknowledge, and then they come right out to the property. The tenants can also put in maintenance requests in the resident portal on Rent Cafe as well.
Thank you.
Oh, and we also have Elise AI, but I didn't want you to, we're not using it in a way for it to be the front, we're still very much engaged with the residents.
And did you say your units are fully occupied?
100%, yes.
And do you have a wait list there too?
We do actually, and it is extensive. It is like
At least 2 years.
Mhm.
I know you have a lot of families because I see the bus pick up the kids.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
So, a few, geez, there's so many questions. So we have here, first what I'll ask about is crime activity. What is your plan? Maybe cameras installed? Do you have cameras installed? If so, are they in working condition? I know there's been some concerns with gang-related activity in the community. Have you all been familiar or in the know about that? And as you well know too, seeing that it is a population of high immigrant population, that's also been some of the fright from our residents there. So do you mind just giving us maybe a little thought on what that's been like from your perspective and how you're helping to resolve those?
So as far as community safety, we do have a camera system there. I am very pleased to say that we just upgraded that camera system in 2025. So the entire system is brand new. We have 42 cameras throughout the community. Admiral Oaks is a community that has 6 garden-style buildings, and the rest of them are townhouses. So within the garden-style buildings, we have cameras on every single floor, terrace, first and second. We do also have a license plate reader, which has helped us to cut down on some of the illegal dumping because there were people coming in dumping mattresses in the corrals and stuff. So now that we've done that, that has kind of really just shut that down. But as far as the camera system's up and running, it is state of the art. It is just as clear as me looking at you, and I have 20/20 vision. So the camera system is definitely doing what we needed it to do. As far as gang activity, I am not aware of that. We do have a security company that is there 5 days a week. She's very hands-on. She knows a lot of the residents. We did have an incident a few months ago, but that was not gang-related. That was personal. This was a former resident. It was a domestic issue between his sons, so that wasn't gang-related. So other than that, I've not heard of any gang activity. And outside of the camera system, the on-site security guard, our cameras are monitored 24/7. So.
Glad you mentioned that. Were you going to say something, ma'am?
Yeah, I was just
Okay,
going to
ma'am.
add on, from the corporate level on the asset management team, we do have a director of security and a senior manager of security that does they walk the sites at least annually and provide security plans and recommendations.
Glad you mentioned that case about him because they did reach out to me and they wondered why were they forced to leave their home. So do you mind sharing that? Is there a process in place that requires when there's a domestic dispute that person to be let go from the property? Why?
Specifics of that, we can talk offline if you would like. I can give you more clarity on that. But it wasn't just the incident because the incident involved a knife and a gun, and then it also involved some individual hiding certain things. So when police presence shows up and then someone is removed, it creates a whole different thing. So we can talk about that one-on-one.
Thank you. How often do you pick up the trash there? Because I have a resident, and I've worked with the manager. I worked with the management there to make sure that they did come out there. But how often do you collect trash?
Trash is picked up 6 days a week. We
Yep.
use waste management, and not only are we picking up regular trash and recycling 6 days a week, we are doing bulk trash pickups twice a month. And like I said, the license plate reader has helped us to cut down on people illegally dumping as well.
What was your plan for snow removal? I had many residents calling me and sharing that the sidewalks were not shoveled from the snow. Do you all require the residents to shovel their own snow? Do you have a contractor for snow removal? What is that process?
So I would say it's a combination of all three. Because of the townhouses, yes, of course, they would have to shovel right out in front of their door. But as far as the sidewalks, we had maintenance to be on site the entire time, and they continuously cleared the sidewalks and salted and everything. And we also have a contracted snow removal company that came through on several occasions to clear the parking lot. But as quickly as they cleared, the snow fell again, but we maintained that same process throughout the storm.
I had some residents also share that there has been an issue. We talked a little about ledgers and documentation, and they felt that there was a mishandling of their records. Do you mind sharing with us for the ledger process? How does that look? Are you all of our residents in good standing? Do you mind just sharing a little bit about
Yeah, the
that?
majority of the residents at Admiral Oaks are in good standing, and they do pay rent on time. We do have a handful of residents from the pandemic where maybe some had gotten used to certain types of rental assistance and sort of failed to pay their rent for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months until they were able to get assistance from ACDS or United Way or other agencies within the state of Maryland. So with those people, yes, we've had some issues and there's been some ledger disputes, but we handled it in the proper way by filing through the court system and going through those stages. So it's either if they owe the rent, they would pay it. If they don't have it, we would try to get them some assistance. If they have exhausted all of those avenues, then we have to move on from there, basically. But we don't have a lot of ledger cleanup at the property or anything like that. It's just a handful of people that had maybe gotten a little bit used to that assistance, and the assistance wasn't available anymore.
I have one last piece here. I got to represent my people, our people, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't playing. So I have, one of the questions is there consistent community? I know we have the Boys and Girls Club out there, but is there consistent communication with the residents, like for residents meetings and things that I do receive from flyer or what have you for them? It was canceled, rescheduled, but they feel that oftentimes they don't have the management in their face. They have some of the staffers there instead. And so my question to you is, how often, if at all, do you have the community meetings? And what is your plan moving forward to ensure that there is community voice and input? And what's the direction for prayerfully of redevelopment along the years of Admiral Oaks?
Okay, so as far as the community meetings, I want to just say that Jamila Palmer, the property manager, has been with us since September, late September, October of last year.
And a lot of turnover,
Yeah. So you are probably speaking of maybe a former manager or whatever as far as visibility. But since Jamila has been there, she is there every single day. We have resident meetings quarterly. She attends those meetings. We provide beverages and snacks for those meetings. We do get a pretty good turnout. And a lot of what the residents are coming to us with, they want more access to the community room. But right now, that is a little bit difficult because of the Boys and Girls Club program there. And you and I have been in meetings before with the people at the Boys and Girls Club because we have to try to schedule time to use the room for our residents. So the Boys and Girls Club operates out of our community room, but the majority of the children that are in that program are not our residents. They are from other places. So what I've tried to do over the years is partner with the Boys and Girls Club. When they have events, I try to help them out with certain things, providing beverages and snacks and assisting with decorating the room and those kind of things. But it has been a little bit difficult for our residents to use the room because of when the Boys and Girls Club is occupying the room. But I think we are working with that. I'm working with our resident services department on that to see what the long-term goal is for the Boys and Girls Club to continue to occupy. But as far as just resident services as a whole, we've been doing amazing with that. We just had a summertime cookout or whatever there. We have different resident events that, we do all throughout the year. With back to school time, we do book bag giveaways and all that types of stuff, so.
Definitely make sure to send that over to the emails if you can. I'm sure any of us on the
Yes,
council
because
would love to be a part of that,
Our
especially myself.
notifications are sent to the door as well as we do an email blast throughout the community. So if they don't have an email address registered, then they would also receive a flyer on the door of what's going on. And normally it's between 2 weeks to 3 weeks beforehand that we send out those notifications.
Can definitely share them with myself and others on the council. I know I'll definitely do my best to be there. So there was the last thing that came up. There was an issue during this summer where we were shared, myself and the chair, Alderwoman Conti, heard that there wasn't support to the Boys and Girls Club this year because there wasn't a line item in the budget to provide that support for the summer services. And our question to you all, per the Boys and Girls Club, is will you all reinforce or bring back funding for the summer programming for the families or the children that do not have the funds to provide them with a admission to the summer program? Do you know anything about that?
That is a question for the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis because that is who runs the program and that is who they are occupying the room. So I've been, advocating for our residents for a long time to be able to be a part of the program, but the process that the families have to go through, which Admiral Oaks is about 85% Latino, so there is a language barrier there, and I've been advocating for years for them to help the residents to sign their kids up for the program. So a number of those kids that are in the room are not our residents. They are from other sites. So we don't have anything to do with that type of funding. When we partner with them for programs, we use the money that is in our operations budget for resident services.
That's what I'm referring to. There is a line item for that you all do provide services for this program at the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, no, it's
for
not
the
a
residents.
program. It's not a program. We just put money in our resident services budget to do things for the residents, like cookouts and Labor Day events and things like that, but we don't have anything to do with funding their programs per se. These are just regular resident services events that we're doing as Enterprise Residential.
No more questions right now.
That's okay. I think that's
We'll
it.
check.
Can we get y'all contact information if we don't already have it?
Up there has my contact information.
May I ask a question, though?
Absolutely.
Because you kind of break my heart when you say that it's the worst it's ever been, because that's not what we're seeing. I mean, we have these regular resident meetings, we have our work orders that are all closed out and good to go, and we don't receive these complaints on any kind of regular basis. And, you know, they're one-offs that you're discussing today, and we address them timely. The one issue you brought up was a mental health issue we're trying to work with. We don't like to jump straight to eviction. And it may end up coming to that, but we're trying to work with that. So that even could happen again while we work through those resources with her. But we're not getting these complaints that you're telling me you're hearing. So when you receive them, do you have a process where you can email us or bring it to our attention? Because I don't want to
Absolutely.
wait until these meetings to hear about it and fix it a month later. I want to fix it when it happens, which is what we're doing with what we receive. But if we're not hearing about it, we can't fix it. So it'd be really, really great if you could, and I believe my card here, you have her contact information. If you get those complaints, please direct them back to us and let them know we're here to help.
Oh, yeah, and I surely have and will. As you just heard, the turnover rate has been quite poor there. And the last that we've spoken with management, I'm not certain if it was December, January, earlier this year when you first came into your position, I don't believe we've ever met. And I was there at the last community meeting, and there were two, your assistant was there, and yours, and that's where the frustration came, that the management don't ever want to show up to these meetings. They always put their assistants there. So, so as you well know too, residents won't always go to management to say these issues. They'll come to those who they can trust or who represent them to share these issues. I've called, sometimes don't get answers. I actually, for the trash issue, I called for weeks.
So let's fix that.
So,
I
yeah,
can't
so
speak
the
to the
lines of
site level
com-
and previously, but I'm going to give you our information, and we haven't gone anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So you'll have a direct line. We also have a corporate number that the residents can call that they've all received, and that goes straight to my phone, straight to her phone. And it's a general number. But I'm going to give you my card. I'll leave it here, and let's plan a day to have a conversation. and
Look
fix
forward to
here.
that. Yes, absolutely. Love Emerald.
That bothers me more than you know. So let's fix that, okay? Because
Yes, indeed.
that's not okay.
Okay, thank you. Have a blessed one, y'all.
That's all my
That's
questions.
all we got for you guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for
Do we
coming.
just leave the card?
You can give it to Jessica or
I can get. Okay, yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
what's the phone part? The phone part. At this time, we're going to allow some public comments. Everybody is going to get, whoever is going to speak, will get 2 minutes to be able to come up. We need you to say your name and where you're representing, and your address too. You could line up over here at the podium.
Hello.
Hey.
My name is Shalonda Shepherd. I live at 9's Ben's Drive, but I'm not here for Ben's Drive. I'm here for my mom, who just recently moved to 922 Newtown Drive. I think that's Penrose. I'm gonna try to be 2 minutes. Anyway, in the end of November, my mother fell in her unit. Water was leaking from over top of her stove. She was cooking and the water came down. And I guess from the heat splashing, she jumped back and fell. Her foot is broken so bad. She has rods and everything. She has a special boot on to keep her foot like this. She almost lost her foot, by the way. She didn't know she had an infection. And Penrose was very negligent with this whole situation. They didn't ask how she was. They didn't. The property manager, Anne Marie, that they 922 then, but the unit, they told her because she didn't move in by June 1st, it was nothing that they could do. So she had to go and stay with my daughter, where she had to urinate on herself or go bathroom on herself because there wasn't a clear way for her to get to the bathroom. So I had to go clean her. They wouldn't put her in a hotel. Until I emailed, called Miss Tony Pratt, Daisha, the news, they called and said she could come to the community center, fill out her lease, and then the next day, the place was available to her. My issue is this. I'm from Annapolis. My mother took a bad fall 2019. She worked for Anne Arundel Medical Hospital for 30 years. Her doctor took her out of work, considered her disabled, and the low-income communities in Annapolis have treated her like crap. It's unacceptable. It's a shame. I think you guys should make them stay here and listen instead of letting them come up here, dressed nicely, speaking professionally, already know what they're going to say, making up, because we from Annapolis. We know the low-income community's a mess, and they have to treat us better. It's not okay. Like, my mother, mentally, it kind of screwed her up. Now, I have to go down there every day changing her diaper, and I think it's wrong. And the property manager looked me in my face and told me that she told me I had to come down there by June the 1st or she couldn't be transferred, and she never told me that. And that I was upset because you look me in my face and tell me something that you know you didn't say to me. That's not okay. And then I'm going between Hacker and Penrose. Oh, that's not our fault, that's their fault, Melissa Maddox, that's not a Hacker issue. I don't care. Can somebody help me fix it? So it's like everybody is throwing everything around, nobody's supporting nobody, and all the communities are a mess. If you ask me, all of them need to be fixed. So
We'll definitely get that. We really need to get 2 minutes for everybody, and I know that you have a lot to say. I appreciate that.
You can give, I know I might have it, but the other people on the council will probably want to get your information. You could give it to either Jessica or Caitlin.
Okay.
Hi,
Caitlin.
I just
Okay,
wanted
sorry.
to piggyback real quick. I'm Chantel.
There's actually a line.
I know, I'm gonna get in line, but so we don't get too far away from the point that she was making, I was actually working there at the time. June 1st was on the Yardy calendar, but that was just because that's what the property manager, Ashley Jackson, chose to put on there. The unit was actually not even ready, and they were getting the runaround. Ms. Coates should have been transferred long before. So I just wanted to make sure that I added to that in this moment while she was speaking, and I'll add to the line later. But I did want to put that on record. The unit was not ready June 1st, and that was a ploy to hold them off even longer.
Okay. I'm gonna try to be real quick.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Natalie Chapman. I'm a long-standing resident of Bay Forest in Annapolis, Maryland, and the president of In the Know, our community senior social club. I have been formally tasked by the residents of Bay Forest to convey our collective and pressing concerns regarding property management and upkeep. Our community is characterized by a significant number of long-term residents, many of whom have proudly called Bay Forest home for over a decade. This deep-rooted connection to the property provides us with a unique perspective on its historical maintenance and current operational needs. A recent resident assembly was convened specifically to discuss and consolidate our observations regarding the performance of our current management company, Habitat America. It has become unequivocally clear that Habitat America has exhibited a consistent pattern of insufficient service delivery and a troubling lack of engagement concerning essential repair requests. Residents have repeatedly reported instances where their maintenance concerns are not only unaddressed for extended periods, but are also met with a perceived lack of professional courtesy, leading to a prevalent sentiment of being unheard and undervalued. Compounding these issues is the noticeable and frequent turnover among maintenance staff, which strongly suggests underlying systemic challenges within Habitat America's operational structure, potentially related to inadequate resource provision or equipment, thereby directly impacting the quality and consistency of resident services. While Bay Forest is not officially classified as a senior living facility, its demographic composition is predominantly senior. In the absence of protective community engagement initiatives from the management, critical social and cognitive enrichment opportunities for our older residents would be severely lacking. The In the Know Club, which I initiated, actively strives to bridge the gaps, fostering well-being, community cohesion, and mental stimulation. The primary objective of this communication is to urgently address deteriorating state of property maintenance and the extensive backlog of unresolved repairs. Numerous critical issues have persisted for several months, and their continued neglect now represents significant potential health and safety risk to our residents. We are prepared to furnish a detailed account of each specific repair and maintenance concern that necessitates immediate attention and resolution. We earnestly seek a constructive dialogue and a clear time-bound action plan to rectify these long-standing deficiencies, thereby restoring Bay Forest to a standard that ensures the comfort, safety, and respect of all its residents. Neglected repairs, and I have those lists for you. Also, at this present time, we are dealing with no hot water. We have 2 buildings there. I'll take that. The 930 building was out without water for 3 months, and the 940 building just became without water last Friday, and it's still ongoing. He's going to address that.
For the record, can you give your name and your address?
My name is Natalie Chapman, 940 Bay Forest Court, apartment 122, Annapolis, Maryland.
Thank you.
Okay. Also, I would just like to add, we had a resident, and you probably saw it in the newspaper, Iris Cormier, that passed away recently, that lived in Bay Forest. He had 4 sewage backups. And he was in hospice, and his request was to come back home to sleep in his bed one last time. And Habitat refused to make the repairs and clean up for his apartment for him to be able to do so. I had asked his family to come here tonight, but I don't see him. Maybe they couldn't make it. But I just wanted to bring that out.
Thank you.
He did good. He did good. Wow.
Can you give me your name, your address, and
The wind out of my sails, but she did good. That's my neighbor down the street. I'm here, my name is Art Walters. I live in Bay Forest apartments, senior apartments, and Natalie.
Can you give me your address, please?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm here for one reason, okay? Because this morning when I got up, I didn't have hot water again. This started Friday, the 17th of this month. We're 5 days now without hot water. If we go home tonight, it's probably going to be 6 days. So what I did this morning is after I had my breakfast, I took my laptop and I decided enough's enough. So I'm going to read to you what I wrote to management and also copied Homes of America, who is our landlord. So let me read this to you as soon as I find my glasses. All right. Okay, this is to Jackie Mills, our property manager at 940 Bay Forest Court. We have 2 apartments. We have a 930 and a 940. Each apartment contains 60 residents, senior citizens. Subject, formal notice of material breach of lease, lack of hot water. This letter serves as a formal written notice that the residents at Bay Forest Senior Apartments have been completely without hot water for 5 days, consecutive days, beginning on or about the evening of Friday, July 17th, 2026, when the hot water stopped. Under Maryland Real Property Code 8-211, parentheses, the warranty of habitat, a lack of hot water is a severe life-threatening defect that poses an immediate threat to health, safety, and welfare of the occupants. This is especially critical given that this is a senior apartment community housing vulnerable individuals. While verbal/written complaints have already been made, the issue remains unsolved. Please be advised that if hot water is not fully and permanently restored within 24 hours of this notice, residents will take up legal action. This includes, but is not limited to, number one, reporting this ongoing violation to the City of Annapolis Department of Planning and Zoning and the Anne Arundel County of Health. Number two, filing a petition for rent escrow in the District Court of Maryland for Anne Arundel County, requesting that rent will be paid into a court escrow account and seeks a retroactive reduction in the rent of the days spent without essential utilities.
Excuse me, Mr. Walker. You have gone over your 2 minutes. We have another 10 people in line.
I'm at the end. I'm at the end. This is also going to go into, I'm sorry. This is also going to go into 2 newspapers, okay? And I propose the title. This is the title that they should put at the top of the article. 60 seniors left without hot water for 5 days at Annapolis apartment complex. Residents mobilizing legal action. I
Thank
stand
you.
corrected, okay? And thank you for listening to it.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you can do something about it.
I just want to put in 2 cents here. This is a committee meeting. There are 3 council members on the committee meeting. Normally, public testimony doesn't happen at committee meetings, and it's up to the chair if the chair wants public testimony. It's important that we stick to the 2 minutes. I know all of you have a lot to say, and it's very important. At a council meeting, we can have unlimited numbers of people come and give public testimony. We were supposed to be finished at 6:30. Please keep it to 2 minutes so that everybody can be heard.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Wright. I live at 940 Bay Forest Court. I'm going to keep this real quick. I was one of the ones that took a cold plunge because I don't have hot water. But my thing that I want on the record is that Bay Forest, I've been there 5 years. I moved back from Ohio here. Bay Forest seems to be a dumping ground now. And I'm saying that with all due respect. I'm for everyone being housed, but I am in a legal matter because Bay Forest chose to bring people in and didn't check backgrounds. So I was supposed to go to court July the 24th, this Friday, but I have a court date, August the 17th, because I went and got a peace order for my neighbor under me, and who called the police. I've been there 5 years, called police 3 times. I came and got a peace order because there was a meeting. We got into a verbal confrontation. She started it. I finished it. I went and got a peace order. That peace order turns around. I have criminal charges against me, and I have to go to court. Bay Forest is telling me, well, we can't ask questions. Anybody knowing who this person is, and if they had done a thorough check on the background, they would have seen that this person already had 6 peace orders and had things going against them. So now I'm in a legal matter. If this isn't resolved, I'm going to sue them on top of everything else. Dips in my floor, no hot water, balcony with nails coming up. They checked the balconies 2 years ago, said they were going to repair. They didn't repair. So this is going to be a legal matter. I'm one to go to the paper and to the news. So someone needs to check them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello, my name is LaKyra Smith,
William Bridges.
and we are at residence of Penrose, Wilborn Estates, 1000 Newtown Drive. It's been an ongoing battle with us with Penrose for the last 3 years with them, with complaining about mold, other appliance issues, and basically everything of the norm with them. We were told, well, we found that we had mold in our unit on April the 24th. They kept us in our home the entire weekend. They knew that it was outrageously grown over with the mold. We had hired our own mold inspectors to come out, and they rushed over to stop the mold inspector to come in to do their checking. So the only thing we were able to get was just him doing swabs and not a whole testing. And they basically did some underhanded stuff by giving outside information of residents to other people to look up someone's background, which was his background, to see if he had any legal issues,
Ashley Jackson.
which was Ashley Jackson, the old property manager. They gave us the entire runaround for 2 months in a hotel. First week we was in a hotel with a kitchen. Then for about 3 weeks to a month, we was in a hotel with no kitchen
And spending money.
and spending
every
money
day.
every day because they didn't provide the stuff that we needed. And I have 2 children as well. The mold testing that we got back was found that the mold in the home was very dangerous to our health. And I have 2 kids that already have enough health issues, as well as myself. And I had to send them off with my dad for a while.
Yeah, but they refused to also, but with all that, they refused to give us the air quality test before and after. They're saying they never did an air quality test, but we had one tested for everything else, came back with that, and they're saying that what they got, they didn't get. So, but they unplugged our in-home
Yeah, they
camera for
unplugged
3.5
our camera in
weeks
the
too,
home.
so-
They also, I have videos before they unplugged my camera that they also changed our locks without
Yes.
giving us notice that they were changing our locks. And we were told
And that's
that
against the
from
law.
the city that we were told that we could still go in the home to get things, our personal things, but they wouldn't let us. They changed the locks to our house on May the 5th and didn't provide us a key until June the 13th.
So pretty much all food-related stuff, as far as the fridge, freezer stuff, was all
Yeah.
damaged. They even unplugged our deep freezer. Had no clue for that one.
Yeah.
So came into a house smelling like, just
They ran
unpleasant.
through everything in the house.
Yes,
They went
they
through
would-
all of our personal stuff
Yes.
that was never supposed to be touched.
They went through our closets. They went through our drawers. They went through our kids' rooms.
Yeah.
Trying to figure that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I went to the house and seen it.
Hello. My name is Veronica Grant. I live at 23 Bates Street. And I'm going to tell you, Penrose got a real problem. I actually drew up a petition and I added you, Alderwoman Karma O'Neill, and Alderwoman Daisha Conti. So my problem is, for the last year, over a year, this property has been charging me late fees because they failed to adjust my rent. Now, on June the 1st of 2025, my rent went down. They didn't adjust it June, they didn't adjust it July, and I kept calling. You go down there, you can't get in the door to talk to a property manager. Finally, in August, I adjusted it myself and I paid what I was supposed to pay, and I deducted the overpayments that I made. These people been charging me. I pay my rent between the 28th and the 30th. Rent due on the 1st. It's late on the 6th. They've been giving me a late fee every single month when I pay my rent between the 28th and the 30th. They put it on there on the 1st. On the 6th, they charge me a late fee because I adjusted my own rent. They just starting to fix, the rent cafe or whatever. So then there was an issue. I have some things going on. I have a brain disease. I suffered several strokes. I'm sorry. I know it's 2 minutes. Just can you give me one more second? These people put a notice on my door to say I owe them $400 and some dollars. First it was $700 some dollars. I overpaid my rent. I paid my rent twice in 1 month because I forgot I paid it. So they gave me a credit, but they took that credit and put it on late fees that I don't even owe. And I'm glad y'all had this meeting, and I hope somebody do something, because it's a lot of residents that had that same issue.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Reginald Sims. I live at 114 Oberry Court. So my issue is with Penrose. Just this past Friday, they had an inspection at my unit. When I got back to my unit, I had a orange sticker on my door saying that my unit was unlicensed, and I have mold back in my unit for the 3rd time. Carmela, I will email you, so you will have pictures of this.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Katora. I live at 183 Bertina A. Nickway. I am the president that she was talking about. I did resign. Just to let y'all know, trash pickup is Friday and Tuesday. The tickets is not 24 hours. My bed from downstairs was stopped up for 2 weeks before they came out. I fixed my own bathroom toilet. When he came out, he came to my unit, told my son that he was there for our stove. I have a brand new stove. My stove ain't messed up. Went to my neighbor's house and told her he was there for the toilet. He supposed to have been at my house for the toilet and her house for the stove. Make that make sense?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lakia Sims. I'm at 185 Bertina A. Nickway. I moved in last July. It's been raining ever since. It's mold back in that unit. It's just too much because I have a Section 8 voucher. They're basically trying to tell me that, okay, just move away. And then when I try to move away, it's either I got a credit, my credit goes back to, oh, you owe us. So it's like they're trying to make me stay there. My daughter got sick in the wintertime. Snow was coming in my house. She had to be in the hospital for 2.5 weeks. It's just too much. My toilet leaked also, with my stove not working. I had to buy my own deep fryers and everything to cook because I put blue tablets in my toilet. They say I destroyed their toilet by keeping my toilet bowl clean. I transferred from 124 New Vernon Street. I went through the backup in the thing. I did reach out to Carmen. She did make the city come. They came out, they looked, they seen everything that was going on. I was told because it's too cold that they couldn't fix the cracks in my walls right now or whatever the case may be. I do want to move with me and my children. That's it.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Renitra Anderson. I live at 51 Clay Street, and I will be reading on behalf of a resident who lives in Penrose. Her name is Courtney McAuliffe. She has been a resident of Oberry Court and College Creek Terrace Apartments for the past 6 years. She is sharing her family's experience, but also wanted to bring attention to some serious issues involving housing conditions, tenant safety, and accountability. During her time as a resident, she has consistently fulfilled her responsibilities as a tenant. She has paid her rent, reported maintenance issues promptly, and followed the terms of her lease. In return, her family has endured years of living in conditions that she believes no residents should have to experience. When her HVAC system failed while she had a newborn child, she was told air conditioning was not a necessity. Rather than replacing a failing system as recommended by HVAC technician, temporary fixes were made that never addressed the underlying issue. Over the years, she's experienced repeated water leaks from the apartment above her. Those leaks damaged her ceiling, furniture, and carpeting. Water entered her air vents and created conditions where black mold, orange mold, and even mushrooms began growing inside of her apartment. Every time she discovered a new issue, she immediately notified management. She made phone calls, sent emails, and even took time away from work to visit the leasing office in person because she often received little or no response. Her children and herself lived in these conditions while experiencing ongoing respiratory concerns and frequent illnesses. Despite repeatedly reporting the mold and water damages, meaningful action was delayed for months. She also experienced a severe pest infestation that she reported immediately. Instead of receiving timely assistance, she received a lease violation notice despite doing exactly what the lease required by notifying management as soon as the problem arose. She spent hundreds of dollars trying to control the infestation on her own before the property management finally intervened. In 2025, a new property manager acknowledged that her apartment was no longer habitable and relocated her family to a temporary unit. Unfortunately, the temporary apartment also had mold, electrical issues, and other maintenance concerns. Within the first month, her family was forced to stay in a hotel after the electricity was disconnected. She paid the hotel expenses out of pocket because the property management payments method failed, and she still has not been reimbursed. Since then, she has been living in the temporary unit while being repeatedly told that repairs to the original apartment are almost complete. For months, management has attempted to move her family back into that apartment, yet the work has still not been completed. At the same time, she has been told that someone else wants the temporary unit that she's currently living in, creating additional pressure for her family to move back into a unit that is still not ready or safe for occupancy. She has nearly spent $10,000. She has lost approximately $10,000 worth of personal property due to water damage and mold, and she just wanted to express her concerns regarding the issues that she has dealt with in living in Penrose Properties. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Shakira Arnold. I'm coming today on behalf of my sister. She's at 907G Royal Street. My mother also lives in the Bywater community. She does not want her address disclosed. And I also have a sister-in-law with 2 nephews and a niece that also live in Bywater. But specifically for 907G, I want to say it's been about 2 years. My sister hired a lawyer and set up an escrow account because of the mice infestation. Someone just reported last night that the mice are actually coming through the drainage, so they are outside, they're in the parking lots, they are in the grass. I myself saw the owner of a maintenance company, of the pest control company, and asked, why can't we get boxes? Because we have now, it's now a rat infestation. There are rats running through the parking lot. The trash is not being picked up in Bywaters. I was also the office, it was stated that the Bywaters office is open Monday through Friday. It actually is not. They are not open at all on Wednesdays. I guess the biggest thing is the mold and the mice. My sister reported last night of catching 3 and 4 mice on one sticky trap at a time, like under her sink. So when she's moving her stove, they're getting 3 and 4, rodents at a time. I have gone to my mother's house and seen 2 mice on a trap. You put it down last night, and when I go over there in the morning, there's 2 and 3 mice on a trap. My mom is getting older. She's been in the same unit since we moved to Annapolis. They just redid her floors last summer, and they still have not even put the baseboards down. There is literally a hole by her front door where you can see a dead mouse or rat that was there that they never moved. It's really bad. I'm like, the Bywaters is in the worst condition that it's been in years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chantel Seatram, and I'm not a resident, but I'm a former employee of Penrose Management at Wilborn Estates. And I came on my own because the things that I'm hearing the residents speak on is actually, in fact, things that have been going on, from maintenance orders not being addressed. I was actually advised June 1st to delete all the work orders in the system, and I refused to do so and lost my job June 1st. There's been a lot of mishandling of records. So when it comes to the ledgers, that in fact is true truly happening with Wilbourn Estates residents as well. So the ledgers are not being updated. So when we get the rent adjustment from HACA, it's not being put into the system, and then it's being backed up, and then no one in the office or Penrose management, upper management, wants to deal with it. So there are a lot of residents that are getting every month late notices for balances that are truly not what they owe in actuality. I know that it has been a true statement that they really don't want to deal with the residents' concerns, so therefore there are unanswered phone calls, there are closed offices on days that it's supposed to be open. They really pick and choose when they answer. I know that one of the main things, they don't value the residents. I tried while in my time there to try my best for residents' concerns to be heard, but I know that there's a lot of cracks, molds, leaks, sewage drains, based on from what the vendors had advised me, it's trapped sewage. But I have all the paperwork and a lot to write on, so you can follow up with me at another time. I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is William Pratt, 32 Juliana Circle, East Annapolis, Maryland. First, I want to thank y'all for your time and even opening us up to be a public testimony and comment. At the end of the day, these listening sessions need to stop, right? Over and over and over and over for many years, I've been coming here, hearing the same complaints, coming here, letting these guys dress up pretty, make their jobs look like they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. At the end of the day, I put the blame on the city for not keeping these management companies accountable. You have the power to do so and has done nothing for years. And it continues to go on. So we can't just put the blame and say the management companies has a problem. You guys have a problem as well. And a duty as a responsibility as these people voted you guys into office. It's time to do something.
Could you please stop yelling? We're right here, and you're talking into a microphone. It feels like you're yelling at us.
You're just feeling that way because I'm putting the blame on the city at this point.
And I'll take the blame.
And it's time for things to change. Year after year, we come down here, the same residents. This place would be filled up if you guys really did your due justice. But because they believe that we live in a city that is not willing to do anything also, they refuse to come down because they don't have your support. We need to do something. We got lawsuits and continued lawsuits, and it's not going to be just management company with lawsuits. The city will continue to have lawsuits as well under this administration and the past administrations. Get busy and do something.
Thank you.
Tony Strong Pratt, 32 Juliana Circle East, Annapolis, Maryland. First of all, I want to thank you residents for coming out and using your voices to speak up. I want to thank you for opening the platform up for them to come out and have a chance to open their voice. Means that this committee doesn't even have public testimony. But what I would have wished is that the property management companies would have had to sit and listen to this. These are their residents. These are your constituents. This is not an isolated issue. Listening to those management companies, I felt like I was in an ozone layer because I work with all of them. I see the issues that are going on, and everything these residents said is accurate. These property managers sat here like it's not a problem. If it wasn't a problem, they wouldn't be called here. They wouldn't be. But we continue to turn a blind eye to certain parts of our city. And I'm going to say it. If we were in downtown Annapolis and West Street, we wouldn't be going through this. Your city code for health and safety, I think it's 1740. Hot water, first of all, they can get fined. They can get their license revoked. Mice, rodents, it's all in your city code in the charter. Why aren't we enforcing it? If you don't know, read it. We are tired of coming here time after time after time, and not letting our voices aren't being heard. And as far as my husband, I think that was very disrespectful to ask him to lower his voice. Because if we know culturally, certain cultures raise their voices when they get passionate. I come to plenty of city council meetings, and people who don't look like me raise their voices a whole lot of times, and they don't get asked to lower their voices. No, he was not being disrespectful. He is upset, just as I am upset. Because we have city members, we have property managers who continue to do the same thing and nothing's being done. We need to get to work, else we're going to have another $15 million lawsuit settled.
Thank you.
Can I say just one little thing real quick? But
You have to come to the microphone.
So, Madam Assistant City Manager, will you assist us in getting some information data on the fines that we've placed on the public housing communities, kind of tracking how much money we've received, which fines that have been in place, the fines that we have enforced, because this is something I think has been in the works for a long time anyways. I'm just seeing which housing complexes have received those fines, what the fines were for, the total amounts of those fines, and oh, yes, ma'am.
You have to come to the microphone.
Like the gentleman said, there was a orange.
Please, you need to come to the microphone and.
The red light is lit up.
Can I just email you?
Are you talking about to the resident for the fine? Were you referring? I'm referring to the properties.
Yes, but that is money against the property.
Okay, so these orange side, right? Okay, so
You guys can't have this conversation without her being on the mic.
It's not gonna be on the
Because this is being recorded and nobody can hear her.
okay.
I was going to say email her. She works for us.
Either way, that was an additional amount, but I heard it, and if you don't mind, just including that in the conversation for the fines.
So can I just say that the agenda is complete? The next item on the agenda is complete. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Thank you all for coming.
All right, the
Continue to be
meeting is
present,
adjourned.
please. Okay, blessings.
Second.
Was there a motion and a second? Like-